Missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone. Love with heart.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In this week's episode, I'm going to show you one of my most requested colors that I do behind the chair almost every week. I feel like I always get a client that wants something very similar to whatever I'm about to show you, as similar in like tone or just style of like brightening up the ends. A lot of my clients that come into me, they are naturally dark, just like this client, and they always want to go and lighten everything up from like root to ends. So getting the root, having it be so dark, and getting the ends that are already light to their goal sometimes can be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how I like to do both. So since my client's goal is to essentially brighten everything up, I'm going to tackle what is the darkest. So at this moment, this is her roots. So I'm going to highlight her roots first because this part is going to take the longest. And the reason why I'm going to do the ends and the roots separate is because notice how I'm weaving out sections of the root, and some of those blonde ends are still going to be in the foil. It's nearly impossible for me to kind of like tackle the ends while I tackle the root at the same time, other than if I were to use like a different formula. And sometimes I will do that, but specifically for this one, I just didn't want the lightener to be sitting on the ends for too long in the foil if I had mixed up like a lighter formula for the ends there. So I just figured I'm gonna do the root first and I will tackle those blonde ends later, because honestly her hair doesn't need to be lightened up too much on the very ends. She has been coming to me for a while and we've been lightening her up each session. So she does wait a while in between each session as well. And so this time I felt like we could just lighten it up quickly at the bowl, and I'm going to show you a quick pick me up for any client that kind of wants to like brighten up their ends and just make everything a little bit brighter at the bowl, or if you have a client that has like old toner that you want to get rid of and then have a new toner for whatever their goal is. So for my technique, I'm just using some Blonde Me lightener, and on that bottom part, I did do those chunky weaves that I normally do. And as I get towards the top, I am doing slightly more medium and smaller weaves and trying to pick up the dark pieces that I left out last time. On this highlight particularly though, we are going to be leaving a bit more dimension because I want to give her a soft grow out. I feel like the last few times when we were lightening her, she was lightening from something so dark. So we were doing something a bit more solid all over so that it would be easy for me to brighten everything up. But since the ends are pretty much solid and everything is pretty light already, we just need to brighten up the ends a bit more. We're just focusing on blending that root area so that when she comes in next time, she doesn't feel like the grow out of this color is so harsh against her natural. Also, some of my clients that have these type of hair textures, which is basically a medium to coarse level 3 and 4 hair, sometimes even though you lighten up the ends, they do come back darker. Like the last time that I did this client's hair specifically, she got pretty light, but for some reason over time, I feel like on certain clients, not everybody, sometimes if you are naturally this dark and your hair is on the medium to coarser side, over time the blonde that you have can get a little bit darker. What I mean by that is the last appointment that we had with her, she left pretty much a level like 9 and 10. Like she was pretty light. But coming back in today, it seemed like her blonde got significantly darker over time. And sometimes that could just be like the minerals in the water or the product buildup or whatever it may be, or just it could be her hair just being super stubborn and just kind of getting darker over time. There could be a lot of factors and reasons why this happens, and I do see this happening on clients who are particularly naturally dark like this, but not on all. So sometimes I do warn my clients, if I am blonding them, that sometimes we have to brighten up their blonde every now and then. It doesn't have to be every time they come in, but I do recommend having a brightening session on the ends, just to brighten everything up and get rid of old toners. And sometimes even using purple shampoo over and over can darken the blonde as well. So it's always good to educate your clients on what to expect, because even though they might be at their goal at one appointment, sometimes it doesn't last very long and they need to relighten everything again. And I think that's really important to let your clients know that, so that they have realistic expectations on how to take care of their color. So as I'm foiling up the sides here, I like to do one side all the way up to the temple and then reach the other side before moving on to the front money piece section. And the way that I'm weaving this out, I'm pretty much doing medium-sized weaves. These are going to be pretty much back to back because I want the front part of her hair to be nice and bright. And I am doing a medium-sized weave because I want to see nice big ribbons. So here I'm going in and doing that money piece section, and that very first one I'm just doing a slice just to give her some nice color around her face. This client particularly, for her haircut, we are doing like a slight curtain bang. So for the bang section, whenever I do any type of balayaging or highlighting, I do like to highlight the whole bang before moving on to the sides. Because if you don't foil all the way to the end of that bang area, sometimes it can be a little uneven if you just start going on the sides and you haven't finished highlighting the whole bang area. So it's good to fully highlight the whole bang area so that you can visually see where the hair is laying and where you want to highlight, and then move on to the rest of the top sides. And since this is her bangs, I do treat this differently than I would highlighting like a money piece section, because it just frames this face a little bit differently. So here I did that very first just slice just to kind of get everything nice and bright, but everything after that I'm just going to do some baby lights all the way up until I reach the end of her bangs. So again, once I've reached the end of the bangs, I'm moving on to the top portion of her hair, and then since this is going to be where it pretty much overlays on top of everything, I'm making sure that my weaves are a little bit on the smaller side so that they can look nice and blended. And I do want to make sure that I am weaving enough hair and not leaving out too much negative space on this top area, because I do want it to feel nice and bright, yet I do want it to still feel nice and blended. So essentially, when I'm leaving out some hair beyond just whatever's left out of my weave, that kind of creates some sort of like blend between my highlights, making it look not too solid. So my client's goal was to have a really light silvery tone, so I lifted her to about a level like 9 and 10, and after that I'm going to be applying the Pulpariah Rapid Toners, and my favorite formula of colors that I like to use is the silver and violet colors, and I like to mix them. I mix a bit more violet in, especially if my client has a bit more yellow or lifts more warm. So I'll add in some more violet compared to the silver, so it's not completely 1-to-1. And then when I mix the root formula compared to when I mix the mids and end formula, I do like to make that root formula a little bit more pigmented. So the whole formulation of silver and violet will be 1-to-1 with 6 volume. And then for the ends, I do mix it a little bit more diluted just to kind of create a slight ombre effect so that the root is a bit more darker and pigmented and the mids and ends have a lighter pastel look. So I went ahead and applied that deeper formula on the root first, and then I'm letting that sit on the root, and as that's processing, I'm going in, brushing out the hair and applying some more lightener on the ends just to brighten it up. This is going to be pretty similar to like a wet balayage look, so I'm going in with some Blonde Me and 20 on wet hair and just painting over her blonde ends that we have already lightened from last time. This is going to give it a bit of oomph, like kind of just lighten it up a little bit. It's not going to be too much and it's not too strong on the hair, especially because the hair is wet already. This is going to be very gentle, yet remove any type of toner or product buildup or mineral buildup that there is, and kind of just brighten everything up back to where it was when we had her super light last time. And again, like I said, sometimes some clients need this over time. Maybe their hair is just really stubborn or likes to pull very warm, and so sometimes this is necessary to do really quickly at the bowl for clients who just over time look a little dull or just not as bright as they were when they first or when they last saw you. So once this was done processing, I pretty much let the ends process to about a level 9 and 10 again. And then I definitely shampooed everything out, brushed it out, and then applied the lighter rapid toner formulation. And for that formula, I did mix that 1 to 2 with the 6 volume, which makes it a little bit lighter than that root formula. Alrighty guys, so this is my client's finished look. You can see even though I mixed that same formulation 1 to 1 with the 6 volume compared to 1 to 2 with the 6 volume, you can see the very difference of how light and dark. It makes a huge difference by diluting the formula with adding some more 6 volume. So as this color fades, it is going to get a bit lighter, and then I'm pretty much going to turn into like an ash blonde before it gets totally warm and all the toner has pretty much washed out. But at that point, she can definitely use some Pulp Riot Barcelona Purple shampoo to help refresh and keep it nice and bright and ashy. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and I will talk to you guys next week.